Hello. Okay. So, uh, as we have discussed, so in the previous class we have discussed about carburation. Okay, carburation and carburetor. Okay, so today we will discuss about the structure of carburetor. Okay, structure and working of carburetor. Working of carburetor. Okay, so first we need to understand the structure of carburetor. Okay, so carburetor has two units. Okay, one first is the main unit, and first is the main unit, and second is the floating chamber. There are two units in the carburetor, main unit and floating chamber. Okay, so here this is the main unit. And main unit has a decreasing area. You can see here, main unit has a decreasing area. This is a uniform area, but after some time the area decreases. Okay, why we provide a decreasing area here? That I will tell you later. Okay, this is the main unit. Main unit. Now this main unit is connected. This main unit is connected to the engine cylinder. This main unit is connected to the engine cylinder. This is the engine cylinder. Here this is the engine cylinder. This is the piston. Okay, this is the inlet valve. This is the outlet valve. And this is exhaust pipe. Okay, and here it is a spark plug. Okay, so basically this is the engine cylinder. and this main unit is connected to the engine cylinder at inlet valve through a pipe. This pipe is known as intake manifold. This pipe is intake manifold. Intake manifold. Okay. And this is outlet valve. This is exhaust pipe. Output valve is connected to the exhaust pipe. Okay. Now this main unit, in the upper portion of this main unit, there is a ball. There is a ball which is known as choke valve. Known as choke valve. Okay. Choke valve basically controls the flow of air. Okay. Choke valve basically controls the flow of air. Okay. So choke valve basically controls the flow of air. Okay. Now here, now as suction stroke takes place in the engine cylinder, this suction extends to the main unit to the intake manifold. Okay. So the suction which is created here also extends to the main unit. Okay. Now due to suction in the main unit, fresh air fluid mixture comes inside this main unit. Okay. Fresh air comes inside the main unit due to suction from the engine cylinder. Now this fresh air, now the flow of this fresh air can be controlled by this valve which is known as choke valve. Okay. Now as the fresh air is coming here, now in the starting I have told you that area is decreasing here. You can see here area is decreasing. Now as the fresh air flow here, so due to when area is decreasing, the velocity of air will increase. Okay. From the continuity equation you have studied continuity equation A1 B1 is equal to A2 B2 in fluid mechanics. Okay. So if area will increase, then velocity will decrease, or if area will decrease, velocity will increase. So here area is decreasing, so velocity of air will increase, and velocity of air will be maximum where area is the minimum. Okay. So area is the minimum at the point here the area is minimum. This point is known as throat or venturi. Throat or venturi, where area is minimum. So at throat or venturi, the air velocity is maximum. Okay. Now another portion is here. Now at this minimum area is connected through a pipe to the float chamber. Okay. This main area is connected through the pipe to the float chamber. This is float chamber. Okay. And this pipe between this venturi and float chamber is known as metering jet. This pipe is known as metering jet. Okay. Okay. Now this metering jet connect this venturi to the float chamber. In the float chamber, fuel is there in the float chamber. Okay. Here fuel is present in the float chamber. Okay. Now as I said that when air flows inside the main chamber, the velocity of air is increases because area is decreasing here, and the velocity will be maximum at the point where area is minimum. So area is minimum at the venturi. So here velocity is maximum. Now here velocity is maximum. So from the Bernoulli theorem, you have also studied Bernoulli theorem. What is Bernoulli theorem? P1 by rho g1 plus v1 square by 2g, p1 by rho 1 g1 plus v1 square by 2g equal to P2 by rho 2 G2 plus V2 square by 2G. This is Bernoulli theorem. Now, according to Bernoulli theorem, if velocity will increase, then pressure will decrease because P by rho G plus V square by 2G is constant basically, according to Bernoulli theorem. Okay. So, if velocity is increasing here, then pressure will decreases. Okay. So here as I said velocity maximum at the minimum area point, that is Venturi. So velocity maximum, so here pressure will be minimum. Okay. Now here pressure will be minimum, and in the float chamber we have provided an air vent. This air vent is provided so that the pressure of this fuel in the float chamber will remain equal to the atmospheric pressure. Now here the pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure, and here pressure is very less. Okay. Now in the float chamber pressure is high, and here at the Venturi pressure is very low. So due to this pressure difference, fuel will flow from this float chamber to this Venturi. Okay, and fuel will eject here at the Venturi. Okay. Now as fuel is flowing here from this float chamber, then the level of the fuel will decrease here. Okay, and we have to maintain the level of fuel in the float chamber. For that, we have connected this float chamber to the fuel tank. This float chamber is connected to the fuel tank. Okay, here is the fuel tank. नंबर तो कौन घर पे गया है? मेल आया है ना, मेल में है एचओडी का जो मेल आया उसको पढ़िए, श्रीकांत करके आया है, उसमें 3 नंबर सबसे मोबाइल और नंबर जो है उस पर कॉल करें सबसे नीचे. ओके, so here is the fuel tank in which fuel is there. Okay, fuel tank fuel is there. Now this fuel is supplied to the float chamber. Now as I said that when fuel is flowing from the float chamber to the Venturi, then the level of fuel decreases here. Now when the level of fuel decreases here, we have to maintain the level. So that fuel will be supplied from this fuel tank. Okay. Now this level should be maintained at certain level. To maintain that level, here we have connected a wall. Here we have connected a wall which is known as floater. Okay. Here we have connected a wall. This is known as floater. Okay. Now this floater will float above the fuel. Okay, this floater will float above the fuel. When the required quantity is maintained, this floater will come to the top side and push this wall to the mouth of the float chamber. Okay, and this mouth closes and fuel supply will stop. Okay, now again when this level decreases, means when fuel flows from float chamber to the main unit, again when fuel level decreases, then this floater will go downward, and when this floater will go downward, it will pull this valve in the outward direction, and then mouth will open. Okay, hence due to opening of the mouth, again fuel will supply from the fuel tank to the float chamber. Okay, in this way this floater works. Okay. So now when fuel flows from the float chamber to the main unit, so here air is present and fuel is present. Now just below the Venturi there is a mixing chamber. Just below the Venturi there is a mixing chamber. This is the mixing chamber. Mixing chamber. Okay. Now in the mixing chamber,
proper mixing of air and fuel will take place. In the mixing chamber, fuel is also present here, air is also present here. So proper mixing of air and fuel will take place in the mixing chamber. After proper mixing, this mixture of air and fuel will flow to the engine cylinder through the intake manifold. Now again, this flow of air and fuel mixture will controlled by a valve. Here again a valve is there which controls the supply of air fuel mixture to the engine cylinder, and this valve is known as throttle valve. This valve is known as throttle valve. Throttle valve. Okay. So here this valve which controls the supply of air fuel mixture, prepared air fuel mixture to the engine cylinder is known as throttle valve. And this air fuel mixture supplies to the engine cylinder through inlet valve. Okay. So in this way this carburetor works. Okay. These are the parts. Okay. The main parts are choke valve, throttle valve. This is the main unit and float chamber. Okay. Between main unit and float chamber there is a pipe which connects main unit to the float chamber. This is known as metering jet. Okay. And fuel flows from the float chamber to the metering jet due to high velocity of air. When air flows inside the main chamber, the velocity of air increases because area is minimum here. Okay, at the venturi. So velocity of air will be maximum here, and when velocity of air is maximum, then pressure will be minimum according to Bernoulli theorem. Okay, when pressure will be minimum and here pressure is higher, so due to this pressure difference, fuel will flow from float chamber to main unit. Now this air and fuel mix in the mixing chamber, and this prepared mixture of air and fuel is applied to the main cylinder through this intake manifold, and this is controlled by the valve which is known as throttle valve. Okay. Now this the level of the float chamber fuel will be maintained by using a floater valve. Okay, this floater valve will float on the fuel and it will maintain the level of the fuel in the float chamber, which is connected to the fuel tank. Okay, we have also provided an air vent here so that the pressure of the fuel will remain equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so in this way carburetor works. Okay. Now how choke valve and throttle valve works? Sometimes we require, sometimes in engine we required a rich mixture. Rich mixture means the amount of fuel will be more and amount of air will be less. Okay. So to get that rich mixture, we have to control the flow of air so that the air flow will be minimum and fuel flow will be maximum. Then only we can get the rich mixture. So to control this air flow, we will close the choke valve. When we started to close the choke valve, the air flow will be decreases and air flow will be minimum here. But fuel flow will be maximum, so we will get a lean mixture, rich mixture. Now if we want a lean mixture in which amount of fuel will be required less and amount of air will be more in lean mixture, and in that case we will open the choke valve, then amount of fuel increases and amount of air increases, pressure increases and amount of fuel will remain same, but if amount of air increases, then mixture will become lean. Okay. Same thing happen here. What in the starting of engine required more amount of fuel in the starting. So in that case, we have to do the throttling action by throttle valve. Okay, in that case we have to supply more amount of air fuel mixture. In that case, we have to open this throttle valve so that more amount of air fuel mixture will flow in the engine cylinder and engine will start. But after starting, we require less amount of air fuel mixture. So in that case, we will close the throttle valve. In that case, less amount of air fuel mixture will flow to the engine cylinder. Okay. So in that way, choke valve and throttle valve works. Okay. So this is all about the working principle and parts of carburetor. Now we will study about the air fuel ratio, which can be calculated by this carburetor. Okay, we are preparing air fuel mixture here, so there should be some air fuel ratio. We can calculate this area. We can calculate this that ratio by the concept of this carburetor. Okay. So first I am going to calculate the mass of air. After that I will calculate the mass of fuel, and mass of air divided by mass of fuel, we get the air fuel ratio. Okay. So first I am going to calculate the mass of air. we have to calculate air fuel ratio. For that, first I am going to calculate mass flow rate of, actually not mass of air, that is mass flow rate of air. Mass flow rate of air. Now you have studied the formula of mass flow rate. Okay, what is formula of mass flow rate? The formula of mass flow rate is m is equal to m dot is equal to rho a v. You have studied this formula in fluid mechanics. Rho means density, a means area, v is velocity. But here in place of v, we use c, rho a c. C is also repeated velocity. Okay. Now we have to see the action of air, how air flow inside the main unit. Then only we can derive the formula. So here we have seen that in the main unit, let us assume the starting point when air is entering here. This is the starting point. This is point number 1. Okay, this is point number 1. Okay, and velocity of air is maximum at the venturi. So assume the point at the venturi is 2. Okay, velocity is maximum. So apply steady flow equation, steady flow energy equation between point 1 and 2. Okay, apply steady flow energy equation between 1 and 2. If we apply steady flow energy equation, so what is steady flow energy equation? We know that H1 plus half mc1 square plus gz1 plus dq is equal to H2 plus half mc2 square plus gz2 plus dw. This is the steady flow energy equation which you have studied in thermodynamics. Okay, but here simply air is flowing in the main rate from point 1 and 2. Here there is no work requirement. Okay, so dw should be 0, and also there is no heat transfer. Okay, means we are assuming that the process is adiabatic. You can write here. Assume this is case first, where flow is isentropic and compressible flow. Compressible flow. We are doing the analysis for isentropic and compressible. Isentropic means adiabatic, so there will be no heat transfer, so dq will also be 0. Compressible means air can be compressed, means density can be changed, volume can be changed, so density can be changed. So at point 1 and point 2 density will be different. At point 1 density will be rho 1 and at point 2 density will be rho 2. Okay, because flow is compressible. Now another thing, gz1 and gz2, this is actually potential head. But potential head is also negligible here, because for sometimes carburetor position is like this. This is for understanding only. But carburetor position is like this, horizontal position. So in this case, at point 1 and at point 2, both the heights are same. If you take a reference here, then here z1 is equal to z2. Okay, if both the heights are same, then if we decrease from z1 to z2, it will become 0. So potential head is also 0 here. Okay. Now we can expand this H1. H1, we know the formula of H1. H1 is enthalpy. So H1 should be mCp T1. If temperature at point 1 is T1, then here H1 should be mCp T1 plus half mc1 square. M is basically mass of air, is equal to H2 is mCp T2 plus half mc2 square. Okay. Now here as I told you earlier that when air flows from point 1 to 2, at point 1 velocity is very less, but at point 2 velocity is very high, because the area is uniform. Okay, so we can negate the velocity at point 1 compared to point 2, because C1 is very less than C. Okay, so half mc1 square we can also negate here. Okay, now from here we can say that m cancel out, so we get C2 square by 2 equal to keep this term in this side. So we get Cp T1 minus Cp T2. Okay. Or multiply by 2 here and take common CPT1, take common CPT1. So we get CPT1 within bracket 1 minus T2 by T1. And we know that for adiabatic process, T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. You know this equation. Okay, so put here. So we get multiply by 2 here. So we get C2 square is equal to 2 Cp T1 within bracket 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay. Or if you remove this square here, so under root 2 will come in. So we get C2 is equal to 2 CPT1 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay. Hello. Hello. Now, so we get the value of C2 here, 2 CPT1 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power minus 1. Again, we can find the actual velocity also by multiplying by the velocity coefficient, that is Cv. Okay, so we can get here C2 is equal to Cv under root 2 Cpt1 within bracket 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay, so this will be the value of Cp. Now, as I said, mass flow rate m dot is equal to, if you want to find the mass flow rate at point 2, then this will become equal to rho 2, because we are calculating at point 2 rho 2 A2 C2. So now we got the value of C2. Now we just need to find the value of rho 2 and A2. A2 we need not to find because A2 is area, simply area, but rho 2 we have to calculate in the term of rho 1. Okay. So this is the value of C2. हाँ श्रीकांत वही है ये हाँ वही छोटी है श्रीकांत ही है छोटी है श्रीकांत से बात करो ना तुमको छोटी से मतलब तो श्रीकांत का नंबर ही हम तो श्रीकांत से बात कर रहे हैं मोबाइल समस्या बताओ मैकेनिकल डिपार्टमेंट क्या दिक्कत हो रहा है नहीं ज्वाइन किए रहो और क्या यार ज्वाइन रहो तुम ज्वाइन उस पर रहो लगातार Now we have to calculate the value of rho 2 here, because we need to find the value of mass flow rate. Now, as we said that flow is isentropic, means adiabatic, so we can apply the formula between point 1 and 2. We can apply the formula P1 V1 to power gamma is equal to P2 V2 to power gamma. V1 V2 is actually volume. That's why I have not written V here. For velocity I have written C, because we are already using V as volume. So I have changed this to C. Okay. Now volume, we can write volume is equal to mass by density. Okay. So write here P1 into V1 means m is constant, m by rho 1 to the power gamma. M is constant, so we need not to write here because air is same. What amount of air is flowing from 1, same amount of air is flowing from point 2. So mass will be same. Okay. So we need to write M1, M2. Just write M by rho 1 is equal to P2 into M by rho 2 to the power gamma. So M cancel. Now we need to find the value of rho 2. We have calculated the value of C2. Now we need to find the value of rho 2. So rho 2 should be equal to, rho 2 comes here, rho 2 to power gamma, we get here P2 by P1, and P1 comes here, P2 by P1, and rho 1 to power gamma comes here, in the upper side rho 1 to power gamma. Now transfer this power gamma to the other side, so we get rho 2 is equal to P2 by P1 to the power 1 by gamma into rho 1. So this will be the value of rho 2. Okay, area we need at rho rate. Now find the final value of mass flow rate. So we can write m dot is equal to rho 2 A2 C2. Now m dot is equal to mass flow rate is equal to rho 2 means P2 by P1, P2 by P1 to the power 1 by gamma into rho 1 into area will remain A2 into what the value of C2. C2 is equal to CV into under root 2CPT1 within bracket 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay, so this will be the value of mass flow rate of air for isentropic and compressible fluid. Now if we want to calculate the actual mass, then we have to multiply by discharge coefficient of discharge CD. Then we get the actual mass. Okay, so actual mass flow rate is m dot is equal to, we can say CV CD. Okay, okay, and this P2 by P1 we can transfer it inside this under root. Okay, CV CD rho 1 A2 and within bracket, when we transfer this P2 by P1 inside this under root, then it will get square, so it will become 2 by gamma. Okay, 2 CPT1 and send this 2 by gamma inside this P2 by P1, so we get 1 minus gamma minus 1 by gamma plus, here we get plus 2 by gamma. Okay, so it will become 2 minus 1 become gamma plus 1. Okay, so when this term P2 by P1 to power 2 by gamma multiply here, we get 1 minus P2 by P1 to the power gamma plus 1 by gamma. Okay, so this will be formula for mass flow rate of air for isentropic and compressible flow. Okay, now in the next class we will find the mass flow rate of air for incompressible flow. This is for compressible flow, and again in the next class we will calculate the mass flow rate of air for incompressible flow. In incompressible flow, when air is not compressed, then density will become same. So we will not take different density at point 1 and point 2. We take the same density at point 1 and point 2. Okay, we take density rho A at point 1 also and at point 2 also. So that we will calculate in the next class. This is all for today. And in next class also we will calculate the mass flow rate of fuel. Okay. After that we can calculate the air fuel ratio. Okay, mass flow rate of air divided by mass flow rate of fuel. Okay. So this is all for today. Okay, thank you.